Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
This week on Mvskoke Vision, Mvskoke Creek photographer Victoria Tiger showcases her artistic talent in photography. We have an elder conversation with Creek musician Barney Ingram. And to wrap up the show this week, we go back to the vault with Who Will Watch Our Children? A look at the child care system at the Mvskoke Creek Nation that was produced in the 90s. And once again, thanks for watching Mvskoke Vision.
So I started probably in the early spring of 2016, and when I started, I never anticipated my business to be where it's at in terms of like owning it and traveling all over the world for my sessions. But I just kind of more or less started out as a hobby, and it was during the time that we got orders to Germany, and so I was kind of trying to figure out, like, you know, what do I want to do? You know, I do have a bachelor's degree, but I didn't necessarily, I don't know, I just wanted to do something that was more calling to me. Growing up, we always like looked back on old pictures and stuff like that of like our grandparents or, you know, whoever, and it was always nice to look back on those things. And so I wanted to document more of like my daughter, and then other people kind of started asking me, and it was just kind of like, I don't know, one day it was just a leap of faith that, you know, I was just going to start my business and not look back. So I guess failing at this was never an option for me. Like, I had goals of where I wanted to get to, and I obviously, when you start out on anything, it's a work, and you know, you got to work for it. And I knew I would get there eventually. So I would consider myself like a lifestyle photographer, storytelling. I really love in my sessions the intimate, like the intimate sessions between like a mother and daughter, or a family and their kids, or you know, two couples that, you know, hired me to document their love story. I think photography has definitely changed over the years. You know, when we think back about family pictures, we sometimes think of like Walmart or Sears, you know, the typical family portraits that you kind of just stand and pose. But for me, that doesn't necessarily that doesn't get me. The reason I do lifestyle is just when I see like just those interactions, just the love like unfolding. You know, I think life is hard all the time, and I think if we can just every now and then set like an hour aside to you know, get our pictures documented or whatever, or our family sessions, like for an hour we can forget about, you know, all our worries in the world, whether it's, you know, I don't know, financially, you know, spiritually, maybe something's going on in the home, but for just an hour, allow yourself to just be free and vulnerable. For me to sit there and document that. And I know it's definitely helped a lot of people. And growing up military, in a military family, both of my parents were military, and, you know, I have several siblings in the military. So it was always hard to get to do family pictures and stuff like that. And so I think that's why it's so important for me to do this, is growing up, we didn't have a lot. I mean, family functions and stuff like that, yes, but like as far as like professional family portraits, we never really had a lot of until like maybe 2 years ago. And you know, I'm one of 7. I'm the oldest of 7, and so just a couple of years ago did we finally were able to get like a big group family picture. I found out about the Mvskoke Loan Fund while I was employed working in interior affairs. It was kind of a newly developed program, and I learned about it from an employee at the time that was working for the Mvskoke Loan Fund. I was kind of just bouncing ideas off of other employees and like, I want to do this, but the cost of it is so, high. And so I kind of called the Mvskoke Loan Fund, got a little bit more information, and just applied. They kind of walked me through the whole thing, got approval, and so I was able to go and purchase pretty much some nice equipment. So I want to say I purchased a camera body and 2 lenses and a Mac computer. So pretty much everything I would need to start up my business is what they provided for me. And looking back, like had I have not got that loan, I don't know. I mean, I would probably eventually be able to purchase the items that I did need, but it would take a while and saving up. And so at the time, like I said before, we were in the process of moving, expenses. And so it worked out to where I was able to get approved for that loan, go and buy all of my equipment. I didn't have to wait. I have been able to pretty much double my income. Next year, I'm increasing my prices just because this past year alone, I've done to date 140 sessions. When I started out, I kind of built my own website, and which was several years ago, and it wasn't until I think earlier this year that I truly knew who I was as an artist, what I kind of liked, and so hired a web designer, and he built my website, and we've kind of been going back and forth working on it for months now. So that will be launched here in the next couple of weeks, and anyone can go to it and see all my current work. And I feel like it reflects who I am as a person, and just a little bit more information about what I do and myself in general. And I do traveling sessions as well, so I travel around the world for portraits and stuff like that. So I would like to give some credit to a couple of people. Definitely my husband. He's always been a big supporter of me. Regardless of what new comes on the market or a workshop that I am wanting to attend, he's always just kind of like, go for it. And he's been my biggest cheerleader along the way. My mom is another one of them. But definitely my mentors. Like I said, I took a lot of workshops earlier this year. A couple of them were in Amalfi, Italy. Haley Faria and Stormy Solis. I just recently completed a one-on-one mentorship with Christina Boyd, and an online mentorship with Kayla Locke. So definitely those 4 women are very big-time photographers. Some of them is married to a Marine, and so she's kind of given me like advice on how to grow my business even more, being a military spouse, because it's sometimes kind of hard. Like, we move so often, so we kind of have to start back over. But I'm getting to where I'm setting myself up for the next move. Social media is the biggest platform that I'm using right now to make sure like I am marketing myself for the next location that I'm going to. But yeah, so those 4 women and just my siblings, they've always listened to me, and a lot of my friends locally here back at home and then in Germany that have all contributed in some type of way. You could contact me on my website. I'm on Facebook as well, and Instagram. Majority of all of it is just Victoria Tiger Photography.
I guess probably I started playing the harmonica probably about 66. Had a friend whose daddy worked for David Hall. He had this big $500 acoustic guitar, and had another friend, his folks owned Cave's Jewelry, and he had a big $500 guitar, Martin guitar. Of course, I didn't have no daddy to buy me one, so I went and bought me a $3.50 harmonica. Because I said, well, if we're going to be Crosby, Stills, and Nash, I got to find me an instrument I can play. So I bought me a $3 harmonica, and neither one of those guys are playing, and harmonica's under $65 now. I'm still playing, self-taught. Took me a long time there for people to put up with me. They took going down by the river or something, get that squeaky stuff out of here. But I hung in there. I started playing harp with a band called the Fabulous Loose Goose Band. We did a little bus tour and everything, and got a record. And the guy that was running it, he kept telling me, Barney, you ought to start your own band and sing. He said, I know this country stuff's not quite. I said, I like a lot of it, like that old outlaw country. But I was more into R&B, Chuck Berry and Jimmy Reed and stuff like that. And so eventually lost Doc, the leader of the band, and lost a guitar player. So I put together a little four-piece, and through different members, different names. We were the Boy Dogs at one time. The Fabulous All-Night Sheet Rockers. This guy, he said, oh, y'all do drywall? I said, no, think about it. We did, each show would start Tuesday night, and we'd play to Saturday night. And we was off Sunday and Monday to get to the next show. And sometimes they were in Bozeman, Montana, Wheatland, Wyoming. Our last big show, the finale was we had a weeks-long gig in Vail, Colorado, And
Did you guys have a bus or?
Yeah, we did the whole crazy thing, if I remember right, I think we tried to favor ourselves after Leonard Skinner. We got kicked out of either the bar or where we were playing or the hotel where something was going on later, It's just craziness. I was going to Southeastern. I'd had some little track scholarship, and the football coach at the time, this was acceptable. He said, you don't do anything in the autumn, why don't you be our mascot? Southeastern State Savages, so. Okay. So I go up to the penitentiary and get some feathers, the big, and Dean Pierce has got a horse, and I throw a blanket over this horse, the saddle, So I get on this horse, I got to cover his eyes because these feathers are freaking me out. And I get on this horse's back. About that time, it comes out the football team, and they shoot these guns off, and that horse rears back, hits me right in the mouth. I just fall backwards out on that track. My feathers are broke. I'm staggering around. They're going, boy, I hope this ain't how our season's going to be. That first, right out of the gate, that horse knocked me clean out. About 70, I realized I wasn't doing anything in college, and I didn't think I was going to be a teacher, so I took my chances in the draft. Since I did have some college, they said you can pick the Army, Marines, or the Navy, so I picked the Navy. My brother was in the Navy. And gladly, I never set one foot in Vietnam. I was always on a ship. We floated the coast a lot, up in the deltas. I was on a swift boat delivering mail. mostly these big bases, but sometimes we'd run upriver. Got kind of hairy, you know, but made it out of that alive and had a good time doing it. Longapo City, they thought the world of me. But and I got out and I ran into an old musician friend of mine in San Francisco playing with Jerry Jeff Walker, Gary P9. I got out about 71, 70, I forget, January, I don't know, before or after, but I've had a pretty good run at it. You know, I'm 70 now, and got a good wife. She takes care of me. While we're on the subject, I would like to throw this in. I like to thank Chief Floyd and Lucian Tiger for helping me get this house, because the chief, he saw my situation and everything, and he just felt like I just got a bad deal, in which I did. You know, if they'd have just built it where they're supposed to, I'd still be there. There's a young lady over at housing, her name's Nichols, Jamie Nichols. She had a lot to do with it, and I want to thank her a whole lot. Jamie had a lot to do with it, and I want to thank her. Everybody that helped me get that. I was having a rough time with it. Honestly, in my heart, I would say, don't hold your head up so high, because somebody will cut it down. Keep your thoughts to yourself, because there's people out there that just, if you climb that ladder and are doing good, they'll bring you down. I've never seen jealousy so rampant. Find you a corner, and whatever instrument you want to play, just sit down and work your fingers to the bone. You want to play harmonica, you have to go off by yourself, but just stay at it. And like I say, even in high school, I played music. You know, I can read music. Got a little band called Medicine Pony Blues Band. Got a little four-piece Indian band. On the drums, I got Mike Powell, boy from Henrietta. Been playing with him probably the longest. Me and Mike's been playing together since probably at least 90. And got a boy named Gary Noble, plays the lead guitar. He's from McAllister. He did the California thing, you know, and they didn't want him in the movie, so he came back. And then I got Russell Johnson, full-blood Choctaw, plays bass, solid as a rock. We played, oh my, I guess we're Creek Nation's best kept secret, because we played everywhere, but we ain't played nowhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Baby, luce baste, daddy, luce hobogan, and that, talagi godos, baby, luce baste, mama, chufi hobogan, and that, talagi godos, baby, luce baste. Puja ijohobogan ayana talagi godos baby nojibaste.
From the earliest times, the immediate family, relatives, and other tribal members watched after the children. Now we live in a world where both parents and other relatives work away from the home. So who will watch our children? For most of us, we will need to find child care in homes and centers in the business of caring for children. But how do we decide which center or home care is best suited to watch our children? Let's follow the West family as they search to find child care for their son. We join Mrs. West and her friend at home.
I'm starting work in 2 weeks and I'm looking for a daycare.
Well, whenever I was looking for a daycare, I called the Creek Nation Office of Child Care. They have a resource and referral unit.
I think I'll call now.
Mrs. West begins the search that will help her and her husband find the best center or home care for their child. She may ask other friends and relatives for recommendations. Mrs. West could also call the state child care office for referrals.
They gave me a lot of referrals, but said before I make an appointment to make a list of costs, location, and hours of operation.
Well, why don't you call now?
I think I will.
Mrs. West makes an appointment to see the director of a nearby licensed center. She chooses a time convenient for Mr. West to join her. Every good child care program welcomes visits and questions from parents. So come prepared to ask questions. The Wests arrive at the center. The outside looks cheerful and inviting. The director makes them feel welcome. The Wests have come with questions to ask the director. These are important questions you will ask in your own search for quality child care. Mrs. West explains they have a 3-year-old boy who needs child care. She begins the questions.
What training does your staff have?
All staff are required to have 20 hours of outside training per year. All of our lead teachers either have an educational degree or an associate's degree in child development.
How does your center discipline or correct a child?
When a child misbehaves in our center, the staff gets down on the child's level and talks with them about their behavior. We also use timeouts. We do not believe in mishandling or spanking any child.
Does your staff have training in first aid and CPR?
All of our staff are trained in CPR and first aid. Our guidelines state that there must be someone at the center at all times who is trained in both of these areas.
For field trips, how do you buckle your children in?
At our center, children weighing 40 pounds or less are placed in car seats. All other children are buckled in the back seat. At no time is any one child allowed to ride in the front seat.
What is your policy for someone who comes to pick up a child?
We have a signature card that you will fill out stating whom you will allow your child to leave with.
What does your daily schedule consist of?
At our center, we provide a more structured environment for the children, but we also feel that it is important that you give ample free time in order for children to be able to explore and have socialization.
A daily schedule should include pre-planned activities like music, story time, group sharing, a period of rest, learning center activities, and art. There should be daily outdoor playtime and indoor free time. Also, ask about their weekly menu. The meal should have meat or other protein, a vegetable, fruit, bread, and milk. There should also be a snack in the morning and another in the afternoon. The director invites Mr. and Mrs. West to tour the facilities. Here are observations that will help in your decision-making. As you visit the classroom or indoor play area, see if the teachers are in control of the classroom. Also, notice if teachers and their helpers give adequate attention to each child. Good caregivers talk with each child on his or her level. They hug children and show affection toward them. Are the children happy and well cared for? Are they at ease with the staff and with each other? Are the children engaged in play or learning activities? There should be enough toys and games for the children, and they should be kept in easy reach. There should be learning centers like math areas or science areas where the children can experience educational activities appropriate for their age. We want to be on the lookout for safety problems. Electrical outlets should not be left uncovered. Outlets should have the proper safety covers, like these. Do you see smoke detectors in the rooms? Are fire extinguishers readily accessible? Food preparers must wear hair nets, gloves, and aprons, and food should not be left out. Check to see that diapering is done in a place away from the food preparation area. Cleansers and medicines should be locked up, as well as knives and other dangerous objects. Walk around the playground. Is the outdoor playground fenced in when next to dangerous areas like streets or parking lots? Is the playground equipment sturdy and safe? We should visit several child care programs, and after each visit we ask ourselves, would my child be happy and safe here? It takes time to make an informed decision about quality child care. It takes time to ask questions and observe several child care programs. It's worth our time to make sure our children will be happy and secure in the program we choose. Mr. and Mrs. West have taken the time and become informed. They know who will watch their child.